Wow, did he spectacularly blow his life up or what? You know what's tragic is that he's also dragging down with him family, friends, anyone that's had a connection with him. It's actually rather tragic, but that's what can happen in a moment of absolute zero situational awareness or self discipline. Boom. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be pulling out some conflict de-escalation lessons out of this so we can make sure we don't ever end up in the same position and doing and saying the same things this guy did. And don't fool yourself. Any one of us in a moment, zero attention to detail, attention to the situation, self-discipline, lack of self-discipline can end up doing something that could escalate a situation. I just did a video, a pastor in Memphis, Tennessee, March 2025, ended up getting into a fight with some people at 1:30 in the morning at a bar, restaurant, bar, grill, ended up getting himself killed. And it turned out he was the aggressor. So we're going to be talking about some how we could avoid ending up inadvertently escalating a situation like this. For those of you who are just finding me, my name is John. I'm a retired police officer and an Army veteran. I'm also a certified crisis intervention specialist through the National Anger Management Association. My team and I travel the country conducting very dynamic, realistic conflict de-escalation training seminars. You know, let's talk about our 22-year-old victim in this case right now. Gage Tools, and I apologize if I'm wrecking his name or mispronouncing the last name. So Gage is out there minding his own business, just like you could be minding your own business, driving along at the store. Gage is out there minding his own business, and all of a sudden he has an encounter with someone who's loud, rude, obnoxious, confrontational, antagonistic. Whew. Take a deep breath and just assess the situation. Because remember, there's no law, rule, regulation, or policy that says that you must, you shall, you will engage and interact with every knucklehead who comes up and approaches you and calls you a name. You can walk away. But in this case, if you've watched the video yet, the whole video from the initial contact to the end of that video that Gage recorded and then later posted, the initial contact is rather innocent enough. You hear Gage respond to Brock calling out to him from the other boat, and there's initial interaction and all that. But then here's where self-discipline, situational awareness comes in. Let's start with situational awareness. After a few moments, it is clear that Brock just wants to be, the former charter captain wants to be antagonistic, confrontational. He's just getting loud, rude, and stupid. And this is where situational awareness comes in. Recognize that there's probably no point in maintaining or trying to have a rational conversation with this person who's becoming irrational. And now the self-discipline to just simply stop talking, stop interacting, and if necessary, put it in gear, lift up your anchor, whatever, sail away, walk away, run away, fly away. But create distance between you and a person who's being loud, rude, obnoxious, antagonistic, and confrontational. You don't have to stay there. You've got that entire fishing bay and ocean right there before. You can always circle back and come back later. Again, you're driving along and all of a sudden you're encountering a road rager and all that. You know, I used to be a driver's ed instructor, and we would tell the kids, hey, you don't have to react and respond. You don't have to take it personally either. They might mistake you for someone else, which seems to be the situation right here. Brock, it looks like Brock may have mistook Gage for someone else. I don't know. But the point is, you don't have to take it personally. And I would tell the kids in driver's ed, just make a right turn at the next intersection. Just make a circle around the block and come back. You're only taking 30 seconds out of your way, but you're creating distance between you and this other knucklehead. Obviously, if they continue to follow you, that's a whole different dynamic. But I mean, generally, avoiding conflict and confrontation, a lot of times will just simply work. All you have to do is just walk away. So right now, back to Gage, because again, don't fool yourself into thinking that we couldn't necessarily find ourselves in this situation. You probably already have, and just got lucky enough where it didn't blow up in your face and then ruin your life and your family's life and your livelihood and all that. We have all been in situations where we can potentially get sucked down this rabbit hole of interacting and dealing with someone who's just stupid. And you've got to be careful. Because remember, the whole idea of me doing this channel and all that is to highlight some conflict de-escalation points, concepts, tips, and techniques. And really, situational awareness and self-discipline to do what's right to avoid conflict and confrontation. But let's talk about Brock real quick. Um, he's approaching this fishing area. We'll use military terms because he bragged about being a military veteran. He had one freaking mission that day, was to provide these paying customers an amazing Florida fishing experience. One mission, and he had lost self-discipline and couldn't stay focused on that. As he's approaching, he saw Gage's boat, and this is where having the situational awareness, to recognize, I think I had a negative interaction with that boat a few nights ago, because remember, there was some type of negative interaction between Brock and some other boaters a few days before this incident. My mission today is provide these people with an amazing fishing experience. Today's not the day to deal with this other boater. So what Brock could have done is either ignored that boater or gone somewhere else to do some fishing first. Again, you've got this whole freaking ocean before you and around you. You didn't necessarily have to fish right there, right then, in that moment, okay? Think things through. Slow, deep breath, think things through. So that absolutely would have mitigated this whole thing. But let's say you initially find yourself interacting and then it starts to get heated. So now both these individuals, Gage and Brock, at some point should have caught themselves and recognized this is going off the rails. Voices are getting raised. Even Gage, our 22-year-old victim in this situation, began to use foul language and all that. Catch yourself. Folks, when you allow yourself to become frustrated, impatient, offended, you increase the likelihood that you're going to say or do things that could escalate the situation. And in this case, going back to Gage, he's there minding his own business, and all of a sudden he's got this other boater, Brock, yelling and screaming, calling him names. And you see, initially the conversation was okay, but then it started going off the rails, and then now Gage is also calling him names and all that. That I have never seen a situation work itself out and de-escalate peacefully with both people yelling and screaming and calling each other names. I've just never seen it or been aware of it. And so once that happened, it just absolutely went off the rails. So back to Gage again, have the situational awareness to recognize, okay, this is beginning to go off the rails. This guy is really pissing me off. I don't have to sit here and take this. Go away, create distance. Either stop talking or drive away. Run away, sail away, fly away. Just create distance between you and this other person. Back to Brock. So you go up there, and for some reason, you decide to start engaging with this other driver, with other boater, fishermen, instead of taking care of your paying customers. At some point, situational awareness, catch yourself getting all upset and agitated and frustrated. Take a deep breath, assess the situation. What is my freaking mission today? Oh, I've got paying customers. I better take care of them. Take a deep breath. Stop talking to the other boater. Stop talking to Gage. Refocus, regroup, refocus. Take care of your paying customers. Go somewhere else to fish. Again, you've got that entire ocean around you to go fishing. This whole situation was absolutely avoidable. The initial contact, that's one thing. But again, both men coulda, shoulda, woulda had enough situational awareness to recognize it's time to break contact, disengage, and then the self-discipline to either stop talking or just drive away, sail away in different directions. Let me propose something to you. I wonder if Brock was intoxicated, drunk from a night of drinking. Again, this goes back to situational awareness. You've got a big job. You got a job tomorrow. Was it wise to drink to the point where you got to that, to the point where you're still got a hangover the next day? Now, the reason I say that is because in my many years as a police officer, I dealt with a lot of drunks, not only drunk drivers, but in domestics and stuff like that. And I've had a lot of people would come up to me, friends and family, and go, you know what, officer, he or she is not normally like that, but it's because of the alcohol. And every one of us, I'm sure, can think of a handful of times beginning in high school all the way until now where we've seen someone literally change their personality with a certain amount of alcohol in their system. We've all seen it. And maybe you have experienced it yourself. I remember a family friend a number of years ago, and let me see if I got the drink right. I remember something like this. If he had a white Russian drink, something like that. If he had a white Russian, he was okay. He was a happy drunk. If he had a black Russian, he was just a mean drunk. And so alcohol hits people in different ways. I don't know what Brock's situation was that morning. However, his behavior and all that, that extreme mood swing and so on, it just seems consistent with what I've witnessed and observed and dealt with before. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Tell me what you think. So anyway, again, long, slow, deep breath, assess the situation, ask yourself, do I really need to engage? Do I really have to be in this spot at this moment, at this time? And if not, turn around and walk away. For Gage, you're there minding your own business. For you, you're there minding your own business. You're fishing, you're reading, you're driving along, you're minding your own business, and all of a sudden someone gets loud, rude, obnoxious, aggressive, and hostile towards you. Number one, you don't necessarily have to take it personally. When you take things personally, you're more likely than not going to get offended. And if you get offended, you could become frustrated or impatient. And when you become frustrated, impatient, or offended, you increase the likelihood you're going to be the one to say or do something that escalates the situation. Slow down, take a deep breath, assess the situation. Maybe interact with the other person for a quick moment, answer a question or whatever, but maintain situational awareness and recognize, okay, this person is just being loud, rude, and obnoxious, calling me names. I don't need to talk to this person. I'm just going to ignore them. And if they keep yelling, screaming, moving closer, well, then drive away, sail away, run away, whatever. You can create distance between you and that person. You do not have to stay in place on the X and martyr yourself, because that's only potentially going to escalate the situation. Avoid the feeling, avoid the urge of feeling like you have to have the last word, have to win, have to make a comment known and all that. In the case that you're in a situation like Brock, you're walking into a bar, into the store, into a party, and you see your ex or a coworker you don't like or whatever, just someone in your life that just pushes your buttons. You don't like being around them. Slow down, take a deep breath. You don't have to be offended. Just ask yourself, do I really have to keep going in that direction? No, I just keep going in this direction. You can avoid people you don't like. Again, there's no law, rule, regulation, or policy that says you have to go interact and engage with them. But let's say it's at a work party and there has to be some type of interaction. Well, then self-discipline to just be civil and just recognize that you don't have to stand there around them all night or all day or whatever the case may be. You can excuse yourself and go find somewhere else to go and someone else to talk to. You don't have to be rude, obnoxious also, all right? You don't have to lose your professionalism and your sense of decorum and your self-discipline. You can let them do all that, and you will come out looking like the bigger person. How many times have we heard that phrase? Be the bigger person. What does that actually look like in the moment when someone is loud, rude, and obnoxious in your face? What it looks like is you being able to have the self-discipline to keep your mouth shut and then walk away. Anyway, in closing, I just want to make sure we pull out some conflict de-escalation lessons out of this situation. We don't want you to end up inadvertently saying you're doing something to escalate a situation and have it blow up in such a way that you ruin your reputation, your life, you lose your career, or you end up going to jail, and you inadvertently create such a situation that your friends and family and acquaintances and all that are being dragged down with you. Don't do that. Slow down, assess the situation, be nice, agree to disagree, walk away. Thank you to all my fans and supporters and my patrons on Patreon. Consider joining me there and supporting me. Thank you for all those who do. Take care of yourselves. I'll catch you on the next video.